What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is time to be looking at that page instead of what I was actually looking at, which was just stuff on my monitor. I hope that you guys are all having a good time today. We've got some exciting stuff that we're going to be working on. So, yeah, strap in, boys. We got some models to implement from Balefall. You saw the Amaranth yesterday evening if you were watching that stream or you went back and watched the VOD. We also have a mapcraft submission to take some progress on, and also we're going to do some faction concepts. Actually, we're mostly going to be doing, at the beginning of the stream here, faction concepts while we wait for Blender to render all of the things it needs to render. So without further ado, I say we get started. We got Ryan in the chat, we got Executor and Skirmish Badger. Shambler couldn't stay with us, he was ending his lunch break. But cool to see him pop in for a moment. So, let's go ahead and get ready to rumble here. The Atreus is getting a bit of a facelift, so we are actively working on that, as you may be able to tell. A little bit of a sleeker chassis design, I think. We're going to go ahead and get ready to process it for a wireframe. I do have to also preemptively say that there's going to be a good number of updates to the models. It seems like Balefall's really on our roll, so I'll share what we got over time. I want to build the hype over the stream, you know. I'm not going to tell you guys what's going to be added, but I will say that, you know, he did the Atreus, he did the Amaranth. And the Amaranth is obviously replacing a graphic we didn't even have a model for. The Atreus, more of a remodel, if you will. I have kept the old graphic in case I want to use it for some kind of factional thing. I haven't kept it in the game file, but I kept it, you know, separately, so I don't have to go back and delete, you know, open stuff up in you know, the Git history or whatever in order to get it again. And yeah, we're going to be adding 2 more models to the roster here today, I think. Unless, you know, there's something that I want some changes on that I don't feel like I can do myself. I think there's a couple of adjustments I'm going to make to one of them. The other one you already know about. It's the Zethracore. Apparently that one is ready for my final pass, my final thoughts. So I'm going to be taking a look at that. That'll be our first model after the Atreus renders that we go and see. We can just make this guy a square guy. He doesn't need to be too particular there, I don't think. Just about square anyway. You always end up leaning these icons a little bit closer to square in general. So it's funny when you end up seeing anything different, I think. Okay, we are going to be looking at... I actually have not done the iScript for this unit yet either, so that's what we're going to start off with here. Jump into unit ID, find the Atreus. And that is 78 for a unit ID. Go ahead and start saving the icon with the correct file name. And then I'm going to do a production icon. And that is going to be 90, because you add 12, by the way. Alright, we can close Photoshop, free up a little bit more GPU for what we got to do elsewhere. And, you know, Blender is running in the background, so... My computer's probably running a little bit slow. That's all right. I don't think we even need this program open, funnily enough. We should be good on this guy. Eventually I'm going to need to reopen it for the Zethracore. Once Zethracore is finished, maybe Sovracore can have Sovroleth tendrils instead of claws. Hey, what's up, Jack? Yeah, the Sovracore being able to be remodeled is a big one. Of course, we can take the Zethracore, turn it into the Vorvacore with a little bit of effort. Hopefully Balefall doesn't mind doing that. He's going to be the one who's most familiar with his own mesh, right? And I think it would be cool to have the wings show up, you know, in some way. In some way. I don't know. I mean, the wings don't always read to me as something that actually makes sense to speed boost. So it's hard for me to say for sure. But yeah, it's obviously it's just it is just a thing, right? Like that's what has always been there for the Vorvercore, and it was sort of so originally the Vorvercore had the Vorvercore had a graphic originally, and then DF made some improvements to it in Photoshop, and now in theory we can make a model out of it because we have the Zethercore model. Roadrunners use wings as speed boost rather than flight, like aerodynamic. Yeah, I just think that the wings would probably animate differently than they currently do. They only animate that way because those are the Kakaru wings from Twilight Tileset Critter. That's the only reason why they're even there. So they were just kit bashed onto the Zergling graphic, right? So thanks for whoever did that, because it means that we had a graphic that we could throw in. But yeah, being able to make it so that the well, no, the Vorv-like and a Skozy jump would be pretty until we can actually turn units into projectiles temporarily without deselecting them or whatever, so that they actually work properly. I don't think we can really do that unless that again you're jumping to a unit, but translating them across time, like pulling them to a target or whatever, has some implications to it. I'm not too interested in that for the Vorvercore is really strong already, so it wouldn't be. That doesn't feel like something they need. You might argue that it could be more thematic for them or whatever, and then you balance around that. But I just feel like that's not super necessary. Not quite done with the model render of the shadow, it looks like. So still waiting, It takes a while. So what did we just do? We did the icon. We can go ahead and plug that in here. I've primed it for the... I have primed it for sending up to Junthriong for the wireframe. But... I guess we don't need the fraud scopes. Oh no, I do need that open every now and then. I add some more documentation of stuff, which I guess I should do because I programmed some Krigs recently. Did I actually don't remember if going into here will give me unit is powered by... Yeah, we did do players, it looks like. Okay. That makes sense. Okay, so that's added there, and then wherever rescue unit is, yeah, we should go ahead and duplicate this. I don't know about deleted. It'll probably just have redirect links. Yeah, I was just adding some information about the setup here. We'll go ahead and add a thing here. So I just wanted to add the count for rescue unit powered by, just because then it's identical to the other situation. So we're just gonna I guess we'll rescue up to 10 structures at a time. That's probably fine. I don't think you'll ever get to a point where you're powering multiple structures. So. No, you still require the power field, of course. But if you infest it, then you already own it, so you don't need the trigger to give you that. Okay. I think we're good here. I'm kind of just stalling until this render finishes, but we can just move on to our next little project. We've taken care of the icon already, and we've processed about everything that we're going to process. I guess I'll go ahead and move these screenshots to my desktop. Oh, some of these are identical file names, maybe? No, I don't know. Maybe not. I think it's just the random shit that, we'll do add, start batch, exit. Oh, it exported them back to the folder. Yeah, that makes sense. That's the last time I saw it. All right, yeah. If it has 2 files the same name, that's fine. Okay. All right. Hey, what's up, Jason Estrada? Does Microsoft own Blizzard? Yes. Pretty sure that merger went through. If not, they're in the process of activating it. You probably just Google that. Blizzard also off duty now. I'm not familiar with that. What do you mean by that, Executor? Oh, owns Call of Duty. Okay, never mind. I thought you said off duty as like, yeah, they retired or something. I was like, oh, shit, I didn't hear about that. Yeah, Blizzard's owned Call of Duty since they merged with Activision, I'm pretty sure. It's kind of a funny one. How you doing, Lucy? Trying to see what we can do today for some factional concepts. I have to go back into August crap here. Okay. So these are based on all of the things that the faction concepts that I have here are based around so these were based around the missions, the factions that I know are going to be done by some players, some participants here. Hamster's doing Upstart, so maybe they need a second unit. Although their tech tree is pretty like robust, they will be getting their Shaman variant. But I could probably do their Eidolon variant. Although I think I already did that technically. I can't remember. And then the Gezirath tendril as well. So the Gezirath tendril is the one that's like mass number, right? They've got the Sovracor and the Garvracor. But that's actually all they have right now. So maybe we can go ahead and implement like dual birth Hydra or something for them. Though I don't know why you would ever make... maybe the Hydras will be more expensive because you're getting 2 of them. So like... They have the Upstart Eidolon. I did a model for it, or I started a model for it, so that's why I thought I had done it, but I don't think I ever finished it. It wasn't meant to be like a replacement model for the Eidolon. It was meant to be... I took the Maverick and I like mucked about with it for a while. I never actually finished it. So yeah, maybe because Hamster's also doing the Upstart tech tree, I will... and Eidolon variant. Because they are getting 2 submissions using them. I don't know. I don't know if it really matters that much because, like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to incentivize people to, participate so that more faction stuff gets done, right? So when I see Immikrenia from me, Order of the Sacred Saber from me, I know I want, like, the Ultra Core with Devouring Instinct and Melee Splash, but no other passives. So it's like a souped up, Enzorthracore or whatever. Where it's actually going to do some damage and not just like tickle the enemy or what have you. And then I want, I do know that I think their Vorvacor is probably going to have Swarming Omen since their, the Immikrenia Tendril will probably have Swarming Omen on some unit. Or maybe it'll be their Lyrithless replacement. It's hard to decide, but the Enzorthracore, losing, obviously the Zorius has Swarming Omen. It's like they attack speed, or movement speed when you're moving towards the enemy. And so if the Quasracor ends up being turning into a Lyrilusk that has that, I don't know, I guess that's not really a, it doesn't feel the same as like when you build 1 unit and you get the passive. If it's from a spammable unit, it feels a little bit worse, I think. And so there is also part of me that maybe makes it so that, like, maybe we want their Teth Zoracore to have it, right? They have the raw Zeracore, so maybe if they have a Teth variant that does it, that would be a good one. I could take the old i0 core model and replace the TEF with it, funnily enough, and make it so that it's a support unit from the raw 0 core. Anyway, I don't think that's going to be this month, but that's something that I was thinking about. For sure, their Ultra Core will be taken care of in that way. So. Oh shit, our model is done. Don't worry, we'll come back to these faction concept stuff. But did Lucy give Roller Skates money to bounty on our Coda unit? I don't think so. I think Lucy was probably looking for an excuse to give me money and then didn't realize those files were already in the game. Which I appreciate the sentiment behind. I don't think you... So, Jack, you don't want the Gezirath to get another pool unit right now? Like, you gotta have... unless you're committing to replacing every unit in the whole tech tree, right? It's like... It's kind of obnoxious to do it that way. I mean, I could do it such that the pool... Like... So there's addition by subtraction, and then there's, like, sublimation or something. I don't know what... I don't have a good term for it right now. But if, for example, I made it so that the Quasilisk got a variant similar to the Sovereign where the Sovereign is 3 per egg instead of 2, and the Quasilisk also got a 3 per egg variant, and then the Hydrith then got nothing, that's still giving you something to play off of. If you go Hydrith, then you're supporting a different pool flood type of environment as compared to what you typically get. So, you know, that's something to think about, right? That's not nothing. But if you were to do something like only having factional units from the pool and no factional units from the Hydrith Den, and then just everything from the pool is replaced, then I guess that would be something. I just personally find it, like, I just know how gamer psychology works a little bit here. I know that, like, I'm not afraid of making a decision like that, but I know factually what will happen is then people just won't make Hydrith Den as Gezirath, because it doesn't have fancy factional stuff, you know what I mean? So, I do want to do something about that here. But... Alright, so for our Atreus, so I believe they're, they have like a fidget animation or whatever. Yeah, okay. So from 0 to 9. Okay, so it looks like A0 is the walk cycle start. So we have to redo the we have to redo the walk cycle here. So this is A0, C0, E0, Yeah, but I think Balathal did a pretty good job here. Although I haven't been able to see it in action yet, so we're going to find out together. Okay, let's see how many animations there are. 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like a 9-frame walk cycle here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 180. So then 1A0. So 1C0 should be the first frame of this attack animation if we scroll down enough. Like 1A0 here. Yeah, that's still part of the walk cycle. And 1C0 is... Oh, maybe I'm incorrect. Did I prank myself with this? A0, C0, E0, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180, 1A0. That seems correct. I don't know why it's not. Apparently we go until 240? .240 being the first frame of the attack. Oh, right. And then we have... Okay, so we actually have to do a little bit of play frame 260. So we want 2A0 for the attack and 280 for the idle, and then we go to repeat attack. Okay, that seems about right. Now they have they have a fidget animation. I'll program that in later. I'm not terribly worried about that right now. Okay. Yeah, let's see what the Atreus is looking like. Why does the Dracodon... the Dracodon has a default facing angle that looks in the other direction, so that's really funny to me. Units down. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and adjust that. Why is that the case? Oh, it's a random direction, because it didn't have a facing angle before. Compare it to the Mason real quick. Just 10. Anyway, Atreus. Doesn't seem to have the right frames at all right now, so I don't know what's up with that. Let's see here. We're supposed to imgull the Atreus shadow. Well, I guess I have to see if my Atreus shadow even exists properly. Where's my shadow? Okay, yeah. Apparently the shadow decided it would take all of my cycles, take forever to render, and then not render at all, so that's great. Remains rendered, but at a weird... They're not rendering at the 45-degree angle. Oh, static angle needs to be set here. Okay, so that's my problem, apparently. I think it's 45 degree. Let's see if we can figure that out with regards to... Well, we should be able to just quickly render the remains and see if that fixed it, but I'm going to also open up the Dracodon blend and see what the static angle is set to there. I'm glad that the main render worked, but I have no idea what the shadow needs now. That's a little bit of a concern. The static angle is 0. What the fuck? Okay. Well, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I guess that didn't do anything. Oh, well, we put it on the shadow instead, so maybe that has something to do with why it didn't do anything. But also, it's not configured for the Dracodon death, so I have no idea. Do you mean, like, Atreus has the greatest number of Oh. Alright, that did the trick. Okay. Alright, so now we just have to figure out why the shadow no worky. I thought maybe I needed the render palette to be the shadow palette, but in practice the amaranth wasn't configured that way, so I don't really know what's up with that. We'll just wait for that to render out the first pass, and we can go ahead and close the bracket in the meantime. While it's doing that, though, we can keep investigating our image entry, I guess. I'm not really sure why the iScript wouldn't work properly here. And so we are omnidirectional, of course. But yeah, the Atreus walking. Let's go ahead and export it. So, looking at it through here really... Oh no, it's doing it one frame at a time. What a stupid... Cease. Stop it. No, I can't stop it. It's just gonna go until it's done. Thanks, dude. Fucking slam my SSD, why don't you? Maybe I can ask Mimica to fix PyGRP. That doesn't do that. Okay, so here we can see that the death animation obviously didn't render because we have to set the static angle to 45 in the main thing. So the death animation is rendered incorrectly, so we'll go ahead and do that here. And then we will have to re-render the entire... I guess we don't technically have to do that. We could just render the frame range and see what's up. And like manually stitch it together. That wouldn't be that big of a deal. But it looks like if we... Over here, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he like turns a little bit, right? So at 9... So 9 here is actually the correct frame set to be looking at, starting at 0. So it's the 10th frame set technically. So we have 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, A0, C0, E0, 100. So 100 should be the start of the walk cycle, which is what I have, right? No, I do not. Okay, that would explain why we were confused. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, it still seems to be off by 1 as far as how long the walk cycle is meant to be, but maybe that will still help us. Let's go into shadow here. It doesn't look like there's any data still, so I don't know what's up with that. Let's go ahead and investigate this. We have the shadow catcher. If we turn it on in renders and then we do an F12 render, apparently it's just going to take ages or do nothing. I don't know. Thanks? Okay. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's creating the shadow, but I can't quite tell. Let's compare this to... I don't know. I'll just pick a random blend since that one didn't work. The shadow catcher is configured without the render icon. Shadow catcher is indeed just a plane. It does not appear to be attached to anything. We go into object properties. There is no parent. That's good. Relations. Yeah. Okay. go here. For the golem shadow, it's configured to catch shadow on game basic. Sort of what we already had. Of course, it's part of a collection. Collection being Atreus. Again, the shadow catcher itself is not part of the golem collection, so it doesn't need to be part of the Atreus collection here. Well, I'm not really sure why we can't get the thing to render then. It's a little odd. What's up, P-Sins? The golem is an automaton, yes. Technically, what Jack, I think, is trying to refer to is the... Oh shit, dude, this is a really old composite, I think. That's probably got something to do with it. Yeah, we're not even using Cryptomat on the player color, so that's going to be an improvement there when we do that. I guess we will have to re-render the whole thing. Yeah, what Jack is referring to, but not actually being very straightforward with or explanatory, because that's his style, is just to be like weirdly fucking inaccurate with things, is the lore behind the automata is the more complex the automata, the more requirements there have been for Protoss consciousness to be used for it, to power it. And that's because they need to use the energy that the Protoss souls have access to, if you want to use soul for that term. So they use the same kind of thing there. This is also not the right thing either, I think. I don't have, like, a Cryptomat on this one, so we should go into... Maybe the positron one will have it? Let's check the compositing here. Okay. So if we go into our render passes, and we go into Cryptomat, we tick material, it's going to give us this. Then we see that we should be able to just straight up delete all this shit. Go to image, CMC, game basic, and then we do that image paths to the composite and the viewer. No, it actually does not pause to the viewer. Set alpha, mode, replace alpha, and then alpha is 1. Okay. That's what we do here. And then we see opacity threshold 0.25. The opacity mask comes from the alpha. Player color mask goes to Cryptomat, where the mat is passed to the player color. And the multiplier will be 0.75 to test. And then we'll say our materials. I believe it's just metal PC for this one, but not entirely sure. And then that should be it. We have to do view layer. Oh, I guess everything is fine here. Oh yeah, it's, there is no view layer apparently, so I don't really know what's up with that, but we go to layout, and we get back here into this. Excuse me. Render. Okay. So it's very dark. We should probably... do another render with it up higher. I think that's probably pretty good. One consternation I'm seeing, though, is that the lighting doesn't really affect this very nicely. We probably want these to be slightly... I think I'm gonna slightly inset these. And then I just have to make sure it's good. Yeah. And then go ahead and add a little brown to this. I don't know why it doesn't render. This feels like a Blender bug and not something I did incorrectly. And then it looks like we probably want to... just deselect these edges. Reason being is we're going to sharpen the apply sharp to the stuff around it. That should take care of business there. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit nicer, but it's probably too minor for it to really matter. All right, go back to object mode. So our compositing is better now, but we need to actually see if this fixes the shadow. So we're going to do that real quick. Are we going to get a factional positron? At some point, since we have the model, we can do that. That would be pretty good. Factional positron would be electron. That's pretty... And thank you for the bless you. Starcraft is really so detailed. I wanted to make it, you can zoom in on Brood War and Starcraft 2. Well, I don't think you want to zoom in Starcraft 1's original resolution. My brother just made it home from his trip. He was up here earlier with his girlfriend. We were hanging out for a bit. And that was pretty good. I think zooming is like a fine idea for sure, and it has its uses in StarCraft Remastered because you can zoom out, which is very important, I think. What the fuck happened over here? Well, I guess it was the shadow graphic, so that kind of makes sense. But do we actually have a shadow? Is that a thing we obtained from this process? It doesn't look like it to me. No. Still looks like nothing to me. So that's the fucky thing, is I don't really know what we're going to do about that. But at least in the meantime, I will go ahead and render out the actual Atreus graphic, since I know that that's legit. And then we can try to figure out something about the shadow configuration. I mean, I see here the shadow catcher is above the rotator, but that's just because of the naming convention. Shadow catcher properties, the positron body. Yeah, I don't know. It really feels like there's something weirdly configured with that. So when you're migrating a project from one Blender version to another, right? Because the Atreus didn't have a blend that was... I believe it didn't have a Blender 4 blend. It just had a default blend from before we moved on to Blender 4. Like, it had this version here. And so when you're migrating it, there are a couple of things that you got to check to do. So if I was going to migrate the old Atreus graphic into the new pipeline for rendering, then I would do that crypto matte conversion that I did with the player color material. I would have to set the world light to full bright and a couple of other things here. So we'd have to go into here. Oh yeah, the color's already world bright. It looks like I already had done this at some point. But maybe this hadn't been pushed. I'm not entirely sure. But the shadow is listed as _ shadow catcher, game basic. It looks like I had I don't really know why I only had 0 to 1 for the frame set, but that's probably because I was doing some kind of testing, or 1 to 2, I guess. What is this? Why are we... Timeline... Dope cheat? I think it's dope cheat. Nope. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Turn off this. But yeah, the shadow is just configured like so. Shadow catcher. In this case, it's turned on, but it doesn't have to be, and that doesn't normally affect it. And then the compositing still has all this shit in it, so it's definitely old. But anyway, I don't really know what's missing, I guess. Still working on that one. Will StarCraft 3 be on Steam? Well, if they actually make a StarCraft 3, for like Blizzard and Microsoft do, then yes, probably. Because I think they put like Overwatch and Diablo 4 on Steam and stuff. I believe that was a Microsoft directive, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe after Pro replaces all large models and map tiles and UI. Yeah, Cosmonarchy could be on Steam. If we... Cosmonarchy could probably be on Steam even if we didn't remove it from the... StarCraft 1 engine. Because I think we would probably fly under the radar, to be honest. Not because it's actually, like, legal or whatever. I wouldn't want to do that just because of the risk. But I think it would be... I think it would be fine. I don't know what you mean there, Jason. Alright, so we're done with that. But yeah, I think our factional concepts are pretty cool. The Gladius with Shield Heal Pulse on Binding Plasma Proc is pretty neat. I think that... Well... I don't even know how I would do that exactly, because Binding Plasma does happen in a few different places. Is the data attacker... It doesn't look like the data attacker is answered here. That might be something I would prefer to wait for until weapon ID extension, but I was going to work on that with Jesse once he's done with his UI. By the way, Jesse is cooking up some crazy good stuff for user interface. You guys will see. You guys will see. The render, if you're talking about this Blender stuff, there's I don't think there's anything related to DirectX in here. Let's go ahead and add a few more these custom doodads custom tiles while we're waiting. Just paving over the cliff here. So I do think that our main path here is definitely going to be related to the, like, adding the faction concepts in time for everybody to have a beneficial like amount of time to test with the new features, the new units and stuff. That's going to be an interesting challenge that I think... like, I guess ideally we would have it done by Sunday, if we could get all those units implemented by Sunday. But that is kind of a tough thing to do. So I'm willing to bet that there will be some units that get, you know, done before others. Last time I was placing this many Basilica Cliffs was when I was working on Saber Hands. That's what I just got a flashback to. Alright, I think we're just about ready to seal this up with basilica tiles. It's also really funny that, like, basilica is just kind of a... It's not a word they made up for this game, right? So basilica is a type of terrain, IRL, if you want to use that term. So it's just funny because it's like I'll never associate it with anything other than the Twilight tile set of Brood War. Pretty entertaining to see the way that those kinds of definitions just show up. While we're waiting on the Atreus remodel, I'll go ahead and remind everybody that after that is squared away to the best of my ability, I think if I still can't figure out the shadow following this render, which I guess I haven't really been able to, I'm probably going to have to ping Solstice and say, hey man, I am having a difficult time figuring out this Atreus shadow, and then I'll just send the blend up to the repository so he can take a look at why it's acting up on us. I think that would be very appreciated. Also, after this model, I'll be working on the Zethra core, see what's going on there. But for Eye of the Needles terrain, I really want this to feel like it's not an Ashworld map. It's like a map with some Ashworld components, obviously, with like, it'll probably have like the magma and stuff. But I want it to feel very different. I want it to feel very different, so hopefully we can accomplish that. Steam would open so many doors when if you handle the IP liabilities. It only had resources on it? Yeah. Thank you, Jack. Okay. Still working on the render here, so... Go back to our concepts real quick. So the Calendric Knight's having an idol or a vassal with Signify. This is something that I was thinking about. There's already a factional vassal with the Renaissare for the Sacred Saber, so I think a factional idol would be a little bit cooler. Let's go ahead and get ready to start coming up with these concepts and actually putting them into the... let's actually put them into the... into the game. So we'll say exclude factions, and then we'll have to go to like the Zethra core, I guess, as an example. Yeah, that's what I thought. Calendric Knights, and then copy this and say idle Calendric. Well, Knights. What is the Hierophant referred to as here? We'll call it that for now. And then, actually we have to go back to the Hierophant, funnily enough. Map with all tile sets when? You can't really do that because there's a limit to how many tiles you could add to a map. Otherwise, there probably would have already been something I did. I guess the, if you go to the Calendric Knights here... Oh, this is the wrong webpage to do that in. Let's go here. Oh, where? What's happening? Berg? Oh yeah, we were in Protoss. That's funny. Okay. Tested IRL. Yeah, so they have the Sim, and then they have the Ashguard replacing the Hierophant, but the Sim isn't implemented, as far as I know. The air transport is the emissary. You're probably thinking of the hack Oblivion. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and add the Calendric the simulacrum for the Calendric Knights. It is 621. And we'll do 622 for the idol. We can go ahead and add our weapons file. Nobody's doing Astral Omen, so they don't get any factional updates here, unfortunately. The Simicide, the 2x duplication is the Astral Omen sim. Now, I would just work on the Warlock, probably, since that was already conceived. Conceivable. Confronting. So we got 1172 and 1171. Looks like just judging by how my computer is running, I'm thinking we're probably pretty. We're still pretty much on the dot when it comes to the render. Not quite done yet. We have 2429, 2427, 425. Okay, very nice. So that's taken care of. And now we just need to obviously pop some other stuff down there for like actually making the models and whatnot. Oops. CMP, or FP, I guess. Simulacrum Calendric. Back to FP. Or I guess it would be the other way around, right? It would be Calendric Shadow. And then we would say Idle. Idle Calendric Shadow. remains. Cool. Yeah, the Astral Omen faction does give you access to the sim. It's the only unit for that faction that's implemented. Well, Officer Todd got corrupted by the Void or whatever, so yeah, I think so. Pretty sure. Oh, it looks like we actually have... Wow, we have really old remnants for the simulacrum. That's funny. Alright. I think maybe I just recolored this one. Is it even that recolored? Yeah, I guess it is. It's like dimmed or whatever. I don't think I could figure out the render for the simulacrum. I hope I figured that out eventually, but if not, I guess I'll have an excuse to. FE. Okay. And then we're going to go to get the idol. These. P. This is just so that the game doesn't, like, yell at me for not having certain files. Okay. Are we done yet? No, not yet. Alright, I'm gonna take an opportunity to use the bathroom. Imagine mooing. You can't do that. BBC Pigeon? What is this? Oh, it's for Nigeria. Oh, I get it. It's because Jack Alansky speaks in unintelligible English or whatever. I guess English isn't quite right, because isn't that supposed to be Chinese or something? I don't know my languages. I'll be right back, though. I gotta pee. I return, but my blender has not yet finished. SMH. Okay. Let me preemptively say to Solstice that I'm running into some issues with the shadow. I am running into some issues with the Atria shadow. I'll redid the graphic. Match new specifications. It's rendering out complete nothingness. I compared the... What did we do here? We compared the shadow catcher and export configuration to other working models, and I don't see any difference. I did redo the compositor to be current. Standard 2, if anybody's any ideas. I'll push the blend shortly. But his on the reaper and does have the same. Very nice. Blend my goldfish, why not? Fish are friends? Well, why do I keep eating them then? You ever think about that, Executor? You ever think about that? Alright. I'm going to close that. That's not necessary anymore. We found another useful report for desync stuff. I actually want to quickly investigate that. I think I have to go into merge requests here. See what we got from Vicker. This one, okay. Random plays. I agree with that statement. Merge conflicts are brutal. I think he was probably starting a refactor of the search settings in Trigger Parser. Then got pranked. Okay. Cool. So, this particular this particular set includes logging for replay tracking so that we can figure out what's going wrong on the upload attempt. I don't know what I guess that was a tidy, right? So this is the actual commit that fixes the UB, it looks like. Ah, static cast, okay. Numeric limit, all right. So one of the things that we noticed was going wrong in one of the recent desync investigations was, it was specifically a Jack Slav game, I think. If we scroll down here long enough, yeah. So this match on Near Impact, where it was only 3.5 minutes long, we found a desync that was happening between randomizing things, and it seems like there's a very rare, undefined behavior that can occur when we overflow glast random number, which is the random seed that gets synchronized across clients, and that can result in some desyncs. And so this doesn't fix every desync. Fixing this doesn't fix every desync, but this is probably the source of some amount of otherwise inexplicable desyncs, like early game ones, initial game start ones, and it's probably one of the ones that particularly affected specific clients. Like if your CPU was a particular kind that had a weird undefined behavior case for this, then you would be more likely to desync. This is all kind of theoretical because undefined behavior, which just means that it literally just means like, well, yeah, a cosmic ray might as well have hit your hard drive while you're playing the game. You know, like it really doesn't give you much to go off of. So when that kind of thing happens, sometimes maybe you would crash. Sometimes maybe you would just, nothing would occur. It would be fine. And other times you would desync. And so it's very rare stuff, but we were able to track it down, which is nice. So I'm glad about that. I'm happy about that. We get any good games between... I want to see more Aegis games. There was a really cool looking replay, but I hope somebody can watch it for me because there's a 27.5-minute game on Aegis between Newton and Arbus. I really want to see that one, dude. That looks like a banger, but that's a long time to cast without confirming that it works first. Yeah. Well, Slav might also just have his own problems since he sometimes just seems to lose internet or connection or whatever. But if, like you also desynced a lot with Nebline, Jack, and so it might even be a you thing, or it might have been a you and Nebline thing specifically. Anyway, that's fine. This is how replays to be uploaded after crashes. Replays are not currently automatically uploaded for crashes, but we do have a, and there's no relation to that at all, but DF did achieve saving a replay on crash recently. So we do have that running, and that's really good. We even have it set so that when it crashes, the later change that's currently live on pre-release, even changes it so that your, what do you call it? Hey, what's going on, XPJ? Welcome. We even have it so that when you are watching the replay back, instead of crashing for while you're watching the replay, it pauses the replay at the point where it would crash. And so that you know the exact frame of the game, basically, that it crashed for somebody, for whoever sent you the crash replay. It's really good. Honestly, it feels like fucking future tech. It's wild. So that's really awesome. All right, let's. Are we done with the Atreus render? We're still not done with the Atreus render, guys. How am I supposed to show you guys the Epic Zethra core model at 1 FPS or whatever in Blender because it's rendering in another instance? Unacceptable. We'll have to wait a little bit longer. But that's okay. It gives us some time to keep doing some implementation details. We were in the middle of working on the calendric simulacrum anyway. I would like to implement that bad boy. I guess I need to... Well, what can I do in the meantime? Simulacrum. What? Did we or did we not just copy paste a bunch of this? Oh no, we did it in the wrong thing. We put it in the pre-release folder. I was like, where is that? I just made these, I swear. I'm not going crazy. I did that before I went to eat. That wasn't a fever dream. All right. So maybe what we'll do for now is, since we are still waiting on Blender and we have to do other model work after this anyway, is maybe we'll go ahead and export this as 32, do simulacrum calendric, and then we'll go into the idle, which I believe is only 17 on the frame. I don't think it, yeah, the idle is indeed that. And then we'll go to idle calendric, and we'll just go ahead and, take care of business. Be able to also, well, this is actually technically an old graphic anyway, so we should redo the idle remnants at some point, but we can go ahead and Photoshop. We don't need to worry too much about that. Let's go to Atria. All right, we gotta go here, Atria. So we're waiting on this to say something with 14 in front of it. That's how we know it's done rendering. Nerf River, Buff Waterfall. Someone give Pro a second PC. Dude, not in this economy. God damn, that'll take like $4,000. Just send me that directly. I'll reinvest it better than another computer. I promise. I'll get myself a third monitor. Maybe another table. Fund the next 2 Acropolises. Well, it's interesting you say that. Simulacra have been made recently in high-level 1v1s, not just as a way to abuse the split, but also as a way to add more flexibility to the army in the mid-game. When you pair them with a Herald, any unit that is not just for the sim, but any unit that dies gives you the Ecclesiast or Vassal on death speed speed buff. I was going to say boost and buff at the same time, but instead, you're smoking weed apparently. No, the passive that happens where you lose a certain kind of unit and then it gives you speed, that happens to any unit that dies within the vision range of a Herald, an allied Herald. So when you build a Herald with your Sims and they die, you're actually getting constant engage or disengage potential in the middle of the fight, which is really good for repositioning armies. They end up being a really cool support unit, in my opinion, for 1v1s. Also, if you pair them with a Clarion, they take a lot longer to go down, which is nice. And any sort of shield restore on hit, like Patriarch or Herald again. Or indeed, like if they're building them versus melee, like versus Zerg, and you have Ecclesiast or something like that, that could also help out, but usually versus Zerg you want something else. So. Playing the mod for the first time? Welcome. This is all high-level stuff. I'm talking about like 1v1s with like pro players from Starcraft 1 and Starcraft 2, and some of our homegrown talent. They've been making good use of them, and I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. Oh, Atreus Fanatic. Guys, it's done. Guys, we can blender again. That's so good. Okay. More importantly, I guess I can go ahead and push the Atreus to the model. We're starting on the is Kalendric. Oh, this is going to be refactor. And we have to... Can we restore this without giving us conflicts? No. Okay, we're fine. So we're just going to go ahead. We have to stash these, which is fine. It'll do it automatically when we do this stash changes. Oh yeah. The a Cantor, as it's called in Cosmonarchy, is really good. It's a very powerful unit. You can kind of dodge it with melee with any unit if you recognize the attack cooldown, but. XPJ, how did you find out about Cosmonarchy? And are you playing it with like friends, or are you playing it PvP, or are you playing it just against the AI? Like, how are you participating? I guess I should ask. Infested Cleric also beats Mavericks. Yeah, that's kind of next level synergy when you think about it. Infested Sim heal over time? Yep, that would happen. A similar number, yeah. Dude, your Rilla core has +3 health. It's crazy. I mean, +3 armor, or +2 armor, rather. From the Cleric heal. It's wild. Okay, so I didn't start this to do that, but that's fine. We're going to go into here, and we're going to say... Let's see... standardized configuration for Amaranth and Patrius. There you go. And then we're going to pull, and it's going to tell us to stash, and we will. I just don't have the CLI open for this particular repo right now, and I don't feel like going to do it when the GUI will be fine in this case. It's not that big of a deal. A little bit slow sometimes, but... Okay. So, now we can go ahead and restore our changes here. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to pause our factional development now because I got something else to show you. Oh, I don't know what you're doing. Okay, let's go into here. Can I deselect that? That would be wonderful. Okay. So here we have our little Zephy, our little Zeph guy. Yes, the Zethracore, Zergracore. Looks like he dies pretty well. So it looks like he's set to match the... he's set to match the existing animations. Zethrogan, got him. All right, we're gonna see what we can do here. So first, we're gonna see Zeth, unit Zerg. I don't actually remember if we have ZZE Shad. Yeah, okay, we don't. That's okay though. We can just go into here, go into Images TBL, and ZZE. Set for a shadow. Okay. This is gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna call this Death instead of Remains. Or I guess we can call it Remains. And then delete this, and then go to ARR, and go back into this file, and do Zethracore. This is going to be Remains. It actually has to be changed as well. Zethracore Birth. Do we have the LOB? Okay, we do not have the LOB data, so we're going to have to make sure that we keep this file in here, and that's fine. It should be acceptable. It looks like maybe the birth animation is going to be a slight... I don't know if downgrade's the right word, but it might need some configuration later. And it also looks like we need to do... Zethracore. Okay. ERP. Okay. Because it doesn't look like this. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Very cool. All right. Well, you know what that means, boys. All right, so the only thing I'm not sure about is when we're thinking about rendering this guy, right? Let's just render the... I think this guy can be right-facing. That should be acceptable. Because... Yeah, you're not going to get anything out of Omni here, I think. What's up, Fast Wads? Yeah, the silver is player color. Apparently that rendered way too fast. There's no way it's actually done like that. So yeah. What was the error? Are we missing something? Did I miss it? No, it tries to render something and then it just doesn't. Unless I misclicked the output GRPs button. No. It's doing something. What's it doing? Oh. That would be why. Okay. Does animation even use pixels anymore? If you mean like, is it hand animated or whatever? There was never a point where StarCraft 1's graphics were done that way. They were always rendered. So you had 3D models and they rendered them into sprite sheets. So yeah, pixel art was never how StarCraft 1 was rendered, even back in 1998 or 1997 when they were making it. Why is it giving us an error? I guess we're going to have to open up the console. Toggle system console. Unless it actually did do it, but it wouldn't do it that fast, I'll tell you that much. Oh my god, what the fuck? Did it that fast? So I think we're probably a little bit low to the ground. Also, I like how it's based on the Quasilisk, you can tell, because... Oh no, never mind, the Quas is just in here anyway, what the fuck? What's going on over here? Can we delete that without screwing everything up? I'm gonna assume we actually shouldn't do that and just leave that in there for now. It might be load bearing. Okay. So we're going to take the empty, and we are going to also find the shadow. Where is it? Not here. What's the catch shadow? Scene quasi shadow? Where is scene quasi shadow, I wonder? What is the object relation? It's not in any collections. It doesn't have a parent. What the fuck? Why doesn't it show up when I do the thing? Oh. Well, I want to move the... I would like to move the graphic up here. So we want it to be a little bit more centered, basically. That was 0.5. But I don't know where the scene quasi shadow is here to move it up the same amount of distance. I guess I have to take the location Z and do it that way. Yeah, I guess I can just do it that way, but that was weird. Okay, let's go ahead and render it again. I really didn't think it was going to render that fast. That was kind of shocking. Okay, go ahead and toggle the system console. We don't need that in. It rendered way slower that time because of the system console. Okay, I think we're a little bit... Yeah. Okay, that's better. Go ahead and render all of these now. What's up, Alexander? Every Zerg variant unit is just the same model but facing the other way, Prophet. Now, I did tease earlier, there is another model that I'm going to be processing after the Zethra core is done. So, let's see. Let's see what we get. I don't think we need to make any configuration changes to this guy. We're just going to confirm that everything's actually exporting correctly. We go to RLE Shadow. Hello? Okay, that is there. It's just really hard to see. Okay, that's good. Well, besides the hard to see part, yeah, I could have gone to remapping Archon 2 to see it as well. The remains. That's going to need some work, I think. Oh. Well, they don't really animate very much, but that can be adjusted later. That looks okay. They're a little tiny. A little small. Small guy. I think you compare them to the Vorv and they could definitely be bigger. Ignore the selection circle, that's not that big of a deal. What matters is it's still aligned to the collision, right? It's just that the selection circle was given a... It's down kind of low, right? So we can fix that pretty easily if we just go into the sprites for the Zethra core. And then we do, instead of a 12 vertical position, we'll try 5. We'll be a little bit more reasonable about it. I think we can maybe bump this to 80 pixels and just re-render everything. Let's go ahead and try that. Because, again, I think he's just a little bit small. I also might widen out his torso a little bit to make him match the... whatchamacallit? The proportions of the original sprite a little bit more, but I wanted to test how it was by default. Make my adjustments after testing what it actually looks like, right? I think that's the responsible thing to do. After this, we go for another unit. Any guesses to what the race of the unit is? You can only pick 4. I guess technically you could pick Blood Summon, but I'll confirm it's not a Blood Summon. Yeah, the details on this guy, dude, you can really tell that there's actually stuff going on with this model. That's kind of wild, right? Isn't that kind of wild to think, like, this is way more closer to, like, what the actual unit is meant, in air quotes, to look like. It reminds me of the Huracan, honestly. Like, to think of the original Fireback graphic, I can't even show it to you guys. It's not in the game anymore. But we might need to still be... I think it's the right size now, but I do think I want to increase the width. So if you guys want to focus on anything here, you can kind of tell that if you... Hold on, we'll issue a move command so that they don't change their facing angle anymore. Well, a follow command, I should say. So... Oh, never mind, they still do, apparently. So right here, right? Like, let's go ahead and put this into paint. So, it's almost identical on the head, right? It's actually really damn close. Like, good job to Balethal. But the tail's longer, which I think is fine, but we might want to shorten it a little bit. But it's like fairly close, right? The claws are a lot more, the feet and the spike arms and stuff way better. Like, so much better. It's kind of wild. Believe it or not, the original Zephyrcore only has 2 legs. I'm pretty sure that's how they're intended to be. That little flap in the front, I believe, is supposed to be... Well, it looks like feet to me, but if we slow it down a little bit... It kind of looks like they have 4 legs, right? But, like, the remastered sprite only has 2, so... It looks more like they're... throwing their arms down to catch themselves or something. It's a really weird design in the original. That's kind of neat. They seem to cut a lot of their burrow animation frames out, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so that death animation is definitely going to need a little bit of work, I think. Also, the remains should have a static angle of 45, just like the death animation itself. I think that might even be why the burrow animation looks a little bit weird, is that the static angle wasn't configured to 45 degrees. Oh, there's that. All right. But I think I want to try, if I may. Let me hide the armature here. Well, we can close this so we don't have double music playing for you guys. I want to try around here. So we'll go to the other side and we'll say... So if we were to numpad plus this, then we were going to turn on proportional editing. We scale him up like that. I think that will be a good thing to do. I don't know why the legs were a different mesh, by the way. That was really funny to me. Okay. Positing. Dude, I don't know how to get this guy to move over. I thought I knew how to. Apparently I don't. Whatever. Okay. Alright, we'll go ahead and render that out again. Oh, I did. Oh, what's up, ACA? Becca is in here as well. I forgot to say hi to him. I just laughed at his joke. Which maybe is the best way to do it. Zeth ate a sandwich, yeah. Uncheck all ray visibility flags in the mask object except the camera, and it should resolve that issue. Oh, okay. So that's how we fix the shadow render on the Atreus. Dude, big ups to this guy, man. All right, yeah. The only thing I was thinking besides that was it would probably be a good idea to shorten the tail just a little bit. If we were to just kind of do that, that might work. And we'll just re-render everything because we got it like that because this graphic is small, so it renders fast. Very nice. Spicy carbonara. I do not know what that is, but I will say it like an Italian, even though it is not even Italian. Although you did do the Italian finger thing. Maybe it is Italian. Carbonara? More like marinara, if you know what I mean. Oh, pasta with egg and bacon. Oh, that's pretty good. Spaghetti and cheese with other eggs and cream. Well, there you go. Now I know. I learned a new thing about my people. I am Italian, too. Italian bacon? What's the difference? It's a bit chunkier, right? I think that's appropriate. The tail's a little bit smaller. Actually, the tail didn't really seem like it got that small. Also, for some reason, the pose from the top looks weirdly off. This almost looks like it has perspective on? I don't know, I can't really tell. That doesn't make sense, though, so... Doesn't it look completely different? What the fuck? That's so weird. Factional spaghetti. That's true. Guanciale is made with pork neck fat rather than belly, which is where the bacon comes from normally. Oh, okay. It's so weird that it looks like that when turned to the front, or I guess not the front, but... I mean, if we were to take this empty and rotate it 180, I guess that does kind of look like that, right? Why doesn't it work, dude? Just fucking... Why is my Blender render white? Why is my Blender render full white? The image editor's menu tab? There is no image. What are you talking about? I have no menu. There's no menu here. I can't do anything to it. It just renders. How do you even get to that thing? Is it under here? Render. I did not touch anything, so I don't know why that would happen. It just decided to change on me. But it's doing it across a lot of different programs, so I'm honestly not really sure what's going on there. Oh, it's not in here. How do you get access to this shit? Besides having to do Cloudflare. Well, isn't that helpful? This is not helping me. Well, this is the image editor, so what do I do here? Nothing? Well, at least I figured out how to actually see it, but... We'll probably need to do some more work on it, but I think it's looking pretty neat. Just want to quickly... Yeah, it is rendering out at the right angle now, but the blood is going to leave something to be desired. I'm not asking anyway. Front legs could be further apart to be seen when facing back. Maybe. I guess on the idle animation it wouldn't matter too much, right? Well, all blood is a deeper red than that, so I'm guessing the material probably isn't quite the same as what was already used. But it was built off of the Quasilisk one, so I don't really know what's going on there. But it might be that we just need to tweak a few things about it. I'm no shading expert, though. Like, I'm no material expert. Back to dope sheet here. Go to shading. No, it isn't. You can't have pink tones in StarCraft 1's palette. They're all used by magenta. Alright, I can at least darken the blood a little bit, but I think there needs to probably be more changes than just that. Oh yeah, that's right. Jack Alinsky has color blindness. So. I didn't even really think about that. Thanks for reminding me. All right, cool. Looks like we're ready to also push/synchronize the changes to the I guess they'll have to be stanced up a little bit wider. That looks a little bit better, at least, so I'll take it. But it should probably be less concentrated, I feel like. Oh, it looks like that's probably supposed to be closer to the blood amount, but then it just disappears. I don't know. Hard to say. Anyway, we'll work on it over time. But yeah, we're ready to merge some changes to this. Push that. Then we were going to... I don't know if we really need to do those. I don't know what's up with that yet. All right, let's go back to our third stuff. Oh, this is not right. All right, boys, here's the reveal. Wait for it. How you like me now? I think my main... So this one's more experimental. It's not actually ready to be put into the game yet. It doesn't have a burrow animation or a birth animation or a death animation, but the walk cycle is done, and the attack animation is clearly done, as you can see. But I would say my main initial thought is that, first of all, the guy is a little bit large, believe it or not. He's actually going to be a pretty big boy currently. That's not a Zethalor, that's the Hydra, dude. I don't have a custom Hydra model yet. So the comparison that we have for in-game is this is a Orcodi Hydra. So he's actually he's not that different in size. I like how many spikes he's got. He's a very spiky boy. A little bit thicker tail, but it's player colored, so that's kind of interesting too. It's definitely a lot of player color here. I would say that if we compare how the crest, I guess you could call it, looks, this feels like, I don't know, we probably do need a little bit of something going on here, just a little bit differently. What if we were to... I don't know if that really helps the shading at all. It feels like it adds a little bit more definition to that. And maybe we need... Oops. Same kind of thing going up here, though. I also think that, so these are just sunken in pieces, it looks like. But we can actually turn this into... There's a material that we can append. We can delete that, actually. So we can append a material from the Zoryus, or the Enzorth maybe, but the... know that we can do it from the Zoryus blend. If we go to material, there's an eyeball one. Okay, I have to open up the Zoryus to figure out what it is, the material. What is this? It's just called material. Okay, so that's the one that we need. And I feel like that will give it a little bit more venom. Although it looks like it has just one eye in the render because of the small scale of this. So what we probably actually need to do this. And then we're supposed to body base for this one. Yeah, that's a little bit more like it. And I think because these are a particular detail, if we were to extrude these and make them base bone, just sharpen. Would we see any teeth there? Probably not, huh? Because it's at a weird spot on the mesh where it's not really illuminated by anything. So you probably aren't going to get to see it too much. Well, there's a lot of details you can't see in the sprite, Jack. Okay. So I think with the small changes that I made there, so we know that like if we do a quick 180 and then we render, we can see the back. And this is on the default idle animation. So I wonder if... Do we have like an array modifier on here? I'm wondering how he's... Smooth by angle. I don't know how he's... Where the... Do I have to Alt-H? Oh, okay. He just didn't unhide stuff when he was modeling it. That makes so much more sense. I was like, where is all this stuff coming from? So if we just go ahead and delete these two extra ones, what does that look like? I feel like that's a little bit more normal, right? But then we do have to watch out for the... I think this is correct. Yeah, that feels a little bit better, proportionally. Well, I'm not really entirely sure where they come from even on the original sprite. Or where they're meant to come from, I guess, on the original sprite. Yeah, that looks a little bit more familiar. Weirdly enough, I feel like the crest probably needs to be moved back a little bit, just because it seems a little bit pronounced more than usual. That's probably what makes me feel like this guy's so big, actually, is just his profile's a little odd. I do like his slither. I think that's very good. Okay. So obviously, right now we need the, yeah. Okay. So we are going to. First of all, I guess we should jump into here and make sure that these are the correct path. Yeah. We are here. The slither by default, or the walk cycle, I should say, by default, is more like them coiling their tail and springing forward, which is kind of an interesting concept, but just like the Zethrakor or Zergling walking on its forearms while it's hopping around, it's an out there abstract idea, but it doesn't make any sense for like an animal. It makes more sense for like a weird twisted demon where like part of its identity is that it doesn't make sense. We might have walk cycles or whatever like that, animations like that for Blood Summon or something like that, but it doesn't really compute for this, I think. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and jump with. We're not gonna render this guy. I think we're gonna leave him as is for now. Although I guess I could render him and then just undo the changes in my local get, so we can at least see what he's looking like right now. But yeah, I'm sure we're gonna need some changes, but maybe I can give more pointed feedback once I've actually seen it in game. But yeah, I'm really pumped about the fact that these units are gonna look better and different. I think that's really cool. So we look at Hydra 38. I'm thinking that based on the way that his tail is, we probably... Well, I don't know, actually. Send me to my end. I kind of like that he leans off to his side. That's pretty neat for the idle pose. I don't think that's technically desired or like intended, but it's kind of neat. Make like 10 of them. They do look a little bit more intimidating now, don't they? I don't know, I'm a little bit spooked by this kind of thing coming at me, right? Like if I were to do this. I'm just some Mavericks, right? I'm just like out here walking around, and then. Let's move. Well, they don't have an animation yet, right? Well, I want to see them like run after me. Yeah, there you go. Like that's kind of freaky. I'm spooked. Let's move. They probably need a more elaborate attack animation, if I had to guess. But yeah, that's pretty cool. I wanted to see the enemy, like another player doing it with them. So my thinking is that the concentration of player color in the background there actually doesn't do it for me. I'm noticing that when I'm looking at this. I don't know what it should be instead, because it looks like we already have body base. What is this? This isn't used down here. What is the... Oh, interesting. What if we did do body base as the material? I guess it doesn't have like a correct normal, so it looks a little bit funky. Yeah. Fucking sand camo Hydra or something. Yeah, if we do just by material here on this selection, and then we apply it to base. That probably looks a little bit better, right? I almost want it to be a darker base, though. I can't do that one. If I do... Well, actually, what if we undo that change here, right? Yeah. What if we undo that change there, but then we say that everything on body base is actually going to be the brighter tone. And then we select this by natural and do that. Is that any different? I think that looks all right. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong thing. We have to do this. Okay, that's the darker tone. Yeah, I think that looks a little bit better. A little bit more like maybe what it ought to. What if we can take the shadow off here and just render out the Hydra. Come so far, hell yeah, dude. More scary than it actually is. Nah, Hydras are pretty spooky, dude. Don't lie. Yeah, for Project Hydra to custom Hydra models. Fuck yeah. Let's take a look. Oh, that looks so much better, doesn't it? I think that looks way more accurate now. It's not player colored. And you can still see the red, right? Like it's not... I know that the original... Hold on, where's that guy? Yeah. See, it's funny, because the original actually does have the back thing be like totally player colored, right? But it doesn't have the tail. And now we have the tail instead. And I don't know, there's something about that that feels a little bit better. Maybe I'm crazy. You guys can tell me in chat if I'm like off base or whatever. But we keep parts of the crest player colored, right, as always. The sort of like lead up to the head was also player colored, interestingly enough. And then we have the I don't know, there's something about it that I feel like looks better. You guys can tell me. Now for a Bactylus model. My guy. Bactylus has 2 tails instead of 1. Three tails? No way, dude. Yeah, a little bit more player color probably wouldn't suck. Maybe specifically when facing the back, like the back angle could have it. So if we were to do this, right? What we just did, I think maybe something like that would probably work. And we just go into here and render out the graphic again. Oh, I'm not in... Oh, I am in object mode. Okay, it's fine. It still attacks with its ribcage, even though it has 3 heads. Yeah, that's funny. I think, I'm not really sure. I would need to see, like, if Jack, if you can find a model or a graphic or whatever that shows the flaps you're talking about, I'm all ears for the idea of it working with regards to its firing animation or something. But I am simply not familiar. I always thought that they spat it out or whatever, or that if they did eject it, it was something weird. Like in the I am gonna need to re-render that. That's fine. In the attack animation, you can see the head moves forward, right? So you'd think that would mean like something on the back here, like the way back or whatever, as the... Let's see. So if we make like a little ridge here, and then have this be bone colored or something, that might work out for what we're trying to do here. Although it looks a little bit weird, probably. Yeah. It might not really be what we need. I think we'll come back to that idea later on. We can always edit it. I don't need to gesticulate it myself right now. I don't need to attempt it myself. I think it'll be fine. Frilled lizard. Spinning lizard style crest. Yeah, that's probably that probably should be something that it does here. Image of the SER Hydra. Well, SER Hydra with flaps attacking. Starcraft. Well, we'll just look for the SE1 Hydralisk and we'll get the wiki page, I guess. So on this, I guess there's supposed to be like these grooves or something that it comes out of as part of the crest around the head. Is that what people are talking about? It doesn't really seem like it's, I don't know, it doesn't really seem quite like it's... Why would they need to eat? They just absorb K-Grill. Okay, I think I want the red, the player color here to extend a little bit further down. We'll go ahead and undo this. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, I was asking for a link to a model or something. I don't know what you're just like saying things at me. I don't really know what you mean. Excuse me. Ah! I don't know what this is. That's not what I want. Yeah, Protoss actually just absorb sunlight because they're plants. Difficulty Rainer. I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing like tunnels occasionally, like biological tunnels or whatever, but... I'm not seeing flaps that appear to get bigger. I don't know about that one. Oh my god, Thunderslap signed up! I'm gonna add him in. It was the next image? Oh, I see. Where do they come from? From inflated flaps? They just emerge? Okay, they're just biological. Right. Okay, that'll have to be part of the animation update that Baleful does. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with passing that on to Baleful if he's okay with doing it. All right. Well, with all that said, obviously we can't use this guy in game yet, but I think we made some nice improvements on our own. And we'll go ahead and push those. And then we will quickly jump over to the GPTP stuff. I'm gonna stash my work there. We're gonna go ahead and pull because we got a couple of things we gotta bring to production. Okay. And then we can go ahead and compile with these changes. Oh shit, Alexander signed up. Hell yeah, he did, as Terran. Nice, we got 7 signups. I have to put you in at the bottom seed right now, Alexander, because your T is sight unseen, but you might, I believe in you. I think you can do it. You can surprise me. You've been doing a lot of practicing, so. Blood summon thrombocyte. Hell yeah, dude. My T is Garbo. Don't worry. Okay. Hell yeah, dude. That's all we do. We do our best. All the time, every day. Like a cringe influencer, but for real, for real. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into our... First of all, I guess we'll restore our stashed changes, not that this really does anything right now. And then we will go into our CM dev, go find our Hydralisk and our Z-High-Shad, and we will discard the changes to those. And then we will say sync latest model updates. And then before we do that, we actually need to make an icon for the Zethracore. Zethracore. Hell yeah, brother. Oh, and we also need to do the actual rendering of the Atreus model. The Atreus shadow needs to be rendered correctly. Let's go ahead and pull up Solstice's instructions. Uncheck all ray visibility flags in the mask object except camera. So if we go to the mask object, which is the holdout object here actually, I've changed the name. We go into ray visibility and do everything off except for camera. And then if we go into shadow, we should be able to output this GRP and then hope that it works. And when we test it later, after it's done rendering the test, we will render the whole thing. And then it'll take like an hour and a half to render a shadow, because it's the Atreus. But I really like the way that the redone Atreus concept is. I have no idea how actually balanced or whatever it'll be, but we can work on that later. We're gonna say image size of 28 for this guy on the width. It'll be slightly wider than he actually is, but that's important for readability of the icon. Otherwise, it just doesn't look very appropriate. You just can't see what the fuck's going on there. So I believe this is 41, but let me go ahead and confirm the unit ID of the Zethracore. 37. 41 was Droleth? Yeah, okay. That's the other common one that I've got memorized. Unit icon, and then we have production icon we've got to do. That is icon. So it's 37, but it's actually 49 because we're adding 12, by the way. Okay. It looks like that's done. So let's go ahead and confirm that in our thing here we have Atreus, Shadow. I don't know. We don't see anything yet. And this was just rendered, right? 1544, yeah. So, ray visibility flags in the mask object except camera. It did not resolve the issue. Top Dog will let me know immediately. Yeah, he'll make sure. Yeah. What's up, Shambler? Drive safe. Must use the star pad for ant seals, or there's no chance in hell. Cyclops are pretty good, but I do like the idea that you just looked at it and said, "That's fucking gross." Don't do that. I don't know. There's something really funny about that to me. Okay, I'm going to grab the Zetrocore graphic and send it to Jun 3 Hong. As we have... get that taken care of. I wonder actually right now if the Zetrocore idle animation looks fucked because it's not actually the idle animation. It's part of the walk cycle or something. Yeah, that's definitely the case. So we'll go ahead and test that. Still rendering the test on the Atreus. Oh no, we actually aren't doing anything with the Atreus right now because we're waiting on Solstice to get back to us. But how to actually fix that. What the fuck? We gotta turn that off. And it still looks a little bit derpy, but it looks a little bit nicer. Oh, I will. Cycrella skin. Caterpillar's meant to be serpentine like the Hydra. I'm not sure yet. Log random. Yes, exactly, Alexander. In fact, when I was doing the pupil, that was one of the thoughts that I had for it. But I have the graphic from Warlords Battlecry 3 that I'm using instead as a placeholder. I'll try to get some Blood Summon development done tonight, actually, on a Donator stream, Donator exclusive, so maybe I'll see some of you guys there. I might have to... I hope I don't have to cancel that plan. I I can tell I'm coming down with some kind of sickness because I have this scratchiness in my throat that's really mostly just an irritation. It's not like super painful or anything. So. It's one of the Plague Lord units. I couldn't tell you the name of the unit though. Zero space from on it from my hard drive. Oh, thank you, sir. Yeah, I've definitely been doing a lot of water, and I took a walk earlier today. I'll take another one, but I think the sun might be mostly out by then. Okay, we're done with the sink spam. What were we checking? Is that a core? I mean, I think he's pretty cool no matter what. I actually don't remember what I was checking. Oh, I wanted to see real quick something I was working on before. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. Well, since we still cannot actually render out an Atreus shadow right now, we're kind of up shit creek if we want to put the Atreus there. I guess for now, I will probably just process the icon for the Zethricore. I'm gonna have to. I'm casting with the Laex later, and I'm gonna have to tell him how to say the Zethricore. He keeps doing Zethrocker. Now, I think at this point it's pretty endearing, but see how it goes. Made a ghost unit. Oh shit! The Gazer. That's what it is. I have Oros Gazer. Oh yeah, there is actually just an eyeball, floating eyeball unit. I might be able to use that for something. Hope your checkup goes well, Jason. Or Cody, Cody. Cody Lisk. Cody Leth. Anybody else sign up for a weekend wage? Not yet. This Sunday, weekend wage, by the way, in case anybody doesn't know. I think for now, my my little cheat code here for the shadow is gonna look pretty dumb. I'm just gonna say Atreus shadow. I'm gonna set it to the Atreus, and then the Atreus iScript, I'm gonna set it with like a -7 on the Y coordinate. We're just gonna go to town, but actually it should probably be. Oh man, no, it's gotta be 7, not -7. If we do it as -7, it's actually going up. Let's go down. Yeah, so it's pretty fucked up. Oh, walk cycle isn't perfect. Okay, we gotta figure out what that is. It looks like it's the last frame. So maybe we try that. Oh, okay. Apparently we can resolve the Z fighting.
I answer the summon. In
What is the
stride.
issue?
Into action.
Did I fuck up this? 1, 20, 40, 60, 80. A0, C0, E0, 200. What is the issue? I don't understand what's going quite so wrong. But then again, I rarely do. 100. Yeah. Yeah, 240 it hits a different thing. So 220 is actually totally valid. Maybe 100 isn't? 1, 2, 3. Try without the first frame? Yeah, that is correct. I know nothing.
Interminable.
But it works now.
Ceaseless motion. Interaction. Ceaseless motion.
I think the animation technically, I believe we have a frame of the graphic that still has the, oh no, we do not. So I guess I should do, I actually don't know why it's doing that then. Oh, maybe.
Inspire me. Interaction.
Yeah, that looks a little bit better, but I think what we actually need to do is just do the animation backwards. That's what I'm seeing. You can even skip that for one extra frame of responsivity. It looks like the resolution on the holdout is to do this. We have to go into its object properties. Specifically take this. Apparently this will fix the shadow. Go ahead and do that. It was Z fighting with something else. So. Yeah, play some Cosmarchy instead, dude. Way better. I don't even know how long we've been going for. 2.5 hours? Okay, cool. I'll probably go for another half hour and then I will break, because in an hour from now I'm going to be casting with Alaic, so I'm going to take some time to find a good set of games or single game to cast with him. I actually wonder, maybe I'll be able to swing him casting... I think once we are... I'm trying to think about how I want to go about the process. I might be able to convince Alex to cast, like, to do multiple videos in one batch or something. I'll have to see what he thinks. Maybe I can get him to, increase his coverage. Because the videos have been doing pretty well. If I go to my YouTube studio, and we go to our collaborations tab. Yeah, most recent one hit almost 10K. Actually, I haven't checked all the comments on these videos. I should probably do that. Generally, people are pretty supportive. I like the one guy complaining about long-range units, but they are tier 3 stuff, so skill issue, honestly. Alright, GG, Executor. See you next time. LAX needs to see Savrila. Well, start playing some games and get to Savrila tech in a match that's very cool and entertaining, Jack. Simple as. Oh my god, we have the shadow rendering! Holy shit, it's working. Big ups to Solstice for that fix. Alright, well now we just need to do classic 28 frames of that, so 710 frames later, guys, we'll have this one taken care of. So I'll start that render now, and that'll be done like an hour and a half from now, well after the stream is over. Decent number of Korean comments on the LAXCM videos. Yeah, it's interesting, Solstice. People have an easier time finding them because he crunchitizes them, Captain. He does the same thumbnail work to where he makes everything fucking crispy. He crispies his images the same way that you get crispy stuff from the StarCraft 1 Wikipedia uploads of like maps. Like if I go to Wikipedia and I go to do like something like, I wonder if it's just even on like Fighting Spirit. Yeah, it's kind of here. Not that one, right? But like that one's a little bit. But this one's really massively cranked on the gamma. He does stuff like that. Is Plasma also done that way? Yeah, Plasma is also done that way. It's just demented stuff, you know. It's like, what are we doing? Why are we making them like this? Made a bunch for the Siki ones. Is that a ZVP? When Siki was practicing P? I have a game between him and you that I wanted to cast from the replay of file length alone back on the 28th of July. Of course, I have no idea what ID you used. But if I pick Siki and then I scroll down until we hit 28th July. Oop, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit too much. Okay, we have a Jack Siki game. Is it on Podadia? 8 BD. It's this one on Knife's Edge. A 20-minute game. 19-minute game. So, I don't know if that's the one that you did it, but Koreans want that Korean fired Micken? Yeah, something like that. They look for that crispiness. They look for that crispiness. Having a good time. Getting crispy with it. It was really cool to see a bunch of 2v2s got played earlier. I don't know how many actually hashed. Fenris said only one. Jack said no, but didn't say how many. Typical Jack fashion. Of course, Jack did have a desync with Slav earlier, but maybe he was construing them with that. Yeah, so we've got our Calendric Knights. We're going to do Idle with Signify. Also implement Simulacrum. Kabbalist with Blood Summon Cloaking. It's going to get an increase to DPS, though. I'm not entirely sure how it will go. Did I look at the Amaranth Blade Swipe issue? I have not done that yet. If you would like me to investigate that now, I can do my best while I'm also rendering the Atreus Shadow. It was in disagreement with his secondary statement of, is this more? Oh, is there more? Oh, okay. So, there you go. Well, that was very unclear. So you said that there was an issue with the Blade Swipe. I actually do vaguely remember you posting something about that. Issue where it is only visible from certain angles. First guess is due to backface culling. So if we look at the... I assume this is... Yeah, it's just a plane. It's a series of planes, it looks like. So how would I turn off backface culling, then, for this particular... Do I just un-backface cull it? You're going to have to let me know what you think. Change it to solid. We don't really need to see the Amaranth armature at all, probably. Oh, I guess I can't really change that. Duplicate the geo and flip the face normals? Okay. IDK how to do that just offhanded, please. So why don't we... hide everything that isn't the thing that... Oh. Actually, that's part of the animation. Okay. So I'm supposed to select all of these objects and create a duplicate of them? I guess I can go into their geo. Duplicate it. And then flip. Where is that? Like this? I did duplicate, but I don't know if it actually worked. Oh yeah, I guess it probably did, right? So A to select everything, Control D to duplicate. Or is it Shift D? I don't remember. Yeah, Shift D to duplicate. I'll then flip. If this is all it takes, then that's easy enough. You just tell me if I'm doing something incorrect. It seems to still be being made, so that's promising. We'll get ready to render the we will get ready to render this graphic once the other one is taken care of. Maybe may also need to disable shadow visibility. Is that in here? Viewport display? No, we want visibility, right? So under ray visibility, I'm guessing? Seems to be rendering from this angle. I don't know if that's the angle that it wasn't rendering in before. You let me know if that looked correct to you. I actually did take a screenshot of the Zethar and the Hydra together, but then I just did it with print screen or with snipping tool, and then I didn't actually do anything with it after I didn't paste it anywhere. All right. With all that said, I think we'll go ahead and call it here. Still rendering that Atreus shadow. We didn't really do that much work on my actual map prep submission. Did a couple of tiles stuff. But we processed Balathal's models, which is really good. We also did some faction concepts. We did... we came up with like the Signify idol, and we started working on the sim for the Calendric Knights. We just need to make a graphic for it, and then maybe adjust some stats. I can't remember if it needs any stat adjustments. But that's very trivial stuff. So later on today, I will be pushing an update, maybe this evening, we'll see, where I add the Calendric sim, add the Calendric idol, add the Atreus remodel with some Atreus stats, add the Zethar remodel. That's pretty cool. And then I guess it's probably not going to be very long until the Sovereign gets a factional remodel, since I just need to do some texture changes now. Are you talking about the Zeth? That was Balathal. I just posted a... Balathal did the Zeth and the Hydra. So... The Zeth definitely needs work on its death animation / remains. They're way too goopy. They're not quite the same level of quality as like even the default death animation, death remnants or whatever. So we will do some work on that. We'll need to do some work on that. But everything else about the graphic is really good. It's just the death animation is actually really important, of course. The death sprite, I should say. The remnants are very important. And then I'm just going to quickly grab the Hydralisk wiki entry. Okay, apparently it's not that one. Yeah, it is. The blood pool being predominantly what is there is fine by me. It just needs to look a little bit better, that's all. Which sounds like not very helpful, but I did give Balethal some more pointed critique about it. And that will be the end of our stream, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of good work done today. I'm very pleased with that. Tomorrow, we'll be doing some more of this kind of thing, where I'm going to be processing any model updates that Balethal sends us, as well as maybe doing the Savracore model kit bash out of the Zeth. But we'll see, because I want to wait until the death animation is fully finalized. And then we'll also be doing some more work on the map prep submission, of course, as well as some more factional concept stuff. And that'll be before my shift at work. So I'll see you guys for that. If you're donating or you have access to the donator channel, you'll be able to partake in a Blood Summon stream where I work on Blood Summon concepts tonight around maybe 9 p.m. Eastern time or so. I will let you guys know in that channel if I have to adjust the plan at all, but that is the current plan. And I look forward to seeing you guys there for about an hour or so of me working on the 5th race. Coming up, GG.